Welcome to the Real View podcast, where Ohio Realtors connect you to innovators and influencers, keeping you with the real view of real estate. Whether you're a broker, agent, first-time homebuyer, industry leader, or just happen to stumble upon our podcast today, you can expect to hear tips, tools, tricks, interesting information, and so much more from the experts in Ohio's real estate game. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Real View podcast. I am your host, Allison Wiley. Joining me today, our special guest is Joe Killinger. He has been an active member in the real estate industry for over 30 years, wearing different hats and at times multiple hats, as we all can relate to, I feel like. Over the last few years, he's been an agent, investor, syndicator, founder, and operator of companies, as well as properties he invests in. He has been personally responsible for the sale of and or directly involved in the marketing of over 6,500 assets, resulting in closed transactions totaling over $950 million throughout the U.S. Joe invests his time and money into several real estate brands. He works with these brands to ensure they remain at the forefront of what's achievable through the power of content, community, and business innovation. Joe, welcome onto the show. We're so happy to have you.
Allison, thank you for having me on. Very much appreciated.
Of course. And we are going to dive into some lead gen stuff. And you have some really great advice for us, awesome perspective on how we should be thinking about lead gen, what's working, what's not, what we need to do more of, what we need to do less of. And I think you're going to share with us some really great tips on us as agents, how we can channel our lead gen energy and just make that a little bit better for us in our business. But before we get started in that, I would like to hear a little bit more about you. I know I read off your bio a minute ago, but I would love to hear in your words, how you got started in real estate, what's led you to where you are today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
You're going to give a real estate agent a chance to talk about themselves? How long is this show? I'll keep it very, very short. I grew up in Nebraska. And Wallback, Nebraska, I want to give a little shout out. Town of 281 people, very small. It's actually classified as a village, which Nebraska football was always my thing. So having you Ohio people on.
Us Buckeyes?
Yeah, you Buckeyes. Anyway, you guys have got a great team. We're still in the 15th year of rebuilding, I think. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. But my father was an auctioneer. And he sold everything from being in the sale barn, livestock, to equipment, to real estate. And I really gravitated toward the real estate. And I ended up living in California, and I just knew I wanted to get into real estate. And I just had the bug. So I got my license, and I dabbled a little bit with real estate auctions out here. Matter of fact, the CEO of our commercial brokerage company, George Pino, he actually laid me off for my auction job. And then he called me 2 months later and said, "Hey, I got laid off. What do you think that's out there?" I said, "Well, you can come work with me and we'll do everything 50-50. And we launched what became the number 2 auction company in the Western region in the first 18 months. And we started with nothing. There was no internet. It was just cold calling. We had no idea what we were doing. I came from the marketing side. He came from the closing side in the auctions. And we just kind of talked our way into it. And we ended up getting some great clients. And that ran for quite a few years. And so we dabbled with some other companies, and we ended up launching Commercial Brokers International, which is we have a studio in the office. That's where I'm at now. George is the CEO of that. We have Icon Capital Advisors, the commercial real estate mortgage company. That's going very, very well. And then we have some Ohio people here. We have a commercial real estate affiliate network, which is a group of independent commercial real estate brokerages from around the country that all work together to really compete against the big guys. And I've got I've got Tori Nook that's there in Anchor Retail up in Ohio. And then Southern Ohio, I have Patrick Reynolds. And so we got a great team. They're going to love to see this show too. So we'll make sure they get it put out. But
yeah,
I love real estate. We like to build companies that are all around. They're real estate based. And so we also do a lot of mentoring, and we do a lot of training with our real estate agents. I've got this website behind me, joekillinger.co. If you go on there, there's tons of free stuff for real estate agents. Your first 90 days in commercial real estate, how to build a company. It's just all of it's on there for everybody. And of course, I've got the YouTube channel, Joe Killinger. So yeah, that in a nutshell is it. And we are big on lead generation, right? And so I do a lot of conversations with people when I'm speaking. And the number one thing, and you're going to fall off your chair, Allison, is they don't have a Google business profile page.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, how do you, as a real estate agent, that's one of the key things. If I'm Googling, how am I going to find you? It's going to help you. And you need to be posting on it. Every time you post on your social media, post on your Google business profile. You want to start off there. And I would guarantee you at your conference last week, if you'd have stood up and asked how many people have one, you would have been surprised.
Yeah.
It's just very important to have.
It's so important. I mean, I think even just as from the point of me as a consumer, right? Like that is like the Bible. Like you are living and dying by Googling things. And, even personally, when I want to go somewhere or try something new, I am looking. That matters now. And consumers are paying attention to that.
Absolutely. You need to make sure you're getting your reviews on there. Ask clients to write reviews. It's just you got to make it so people are going to find you, and you got to start thinking about AI search as well, not just Google, but AI search, and that's where it's really heading very quickly because you got to think about if I'm looking for a real estate agent in Toledo, Ohio, you go into AI, you put out AI goes, okay, let me go find somebody. Who can I get? Oh, here, this person has put content out about Toledo, Ohio real estate. There's the authority figure in that marketplace. That should be you guys. It should be you guys. You should be that authority figure. Now, how do you get there, right? Obviously, it's posting content. But also, you want to be doing white papers on transactions that you've completed over the last few years. Actually, write the whole process down, how you met the client, what they were looking for, just the whole thing, the whole process you went through, and how it ended up. Start posting those out there and make sure you're putting it on LinkedIn under where it says articles and on your website, because a lot of residential real estate agents have websites. You want to make sure you're doing that. And if you do have a website, you want to make sure you have a blog on there because that's going to drive an additional 55% more people. And make sure you're doing that every week. Am I going too fast? I kind of feel like I'm
you're
throwing
awesome.
a lot out there.
No, you're great. Sure. We're diving right in, and I love it. And that AI search is so interesting, right? And it's so important what you're putting out there. And at my conference, of course, there was a lot of talk on AI as there is everywhere. And it loves data. It loves finding information, pulling from sources. They were talking about Reddit too. That it's like a big Reddit fan, and it's pulling like that's something you should be posting on, right? And you're like. Community Columbus, Ohio Reddit threads, like posting stuff in there too. And like, there's a huge opportunity that I feel like agents, need to be aware of when it comes to that.
Yeah. We all get into real estate because we're entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I'm guilty of it too, we need a little guidance. And, because we get locked in our day to day, you want to step back and really look at the bigger picture on how you can bring in more business in because when George and I got started with our auction company, we just cold called all day, every day. And we didn't really have any other options at the time because the internet wasn't really around yet. But, as our company, it was a great learning for us as well, really how to be good cold callers. We were terrible at it. George got somebody on the call, a president of a company once, and he got tongue tied and he hung up. I've done worse than that. I mean, I just am like, it's tough. But you got to step back and learn what can I be doing better every day. And AI is going to be a game changer for somebody. I don't care if you're new in the market. You can take over a market by posting information out there about what's going on in that marketplace, not just the pretty pictures. Those get views. If you got to start thinking about what would my future client want to see? They want to see data about the marketplace. You got to really get into that mindset of what's important. What do people really want to see? So AI, very important. Now, also joining local networking groups. You want to make sure you're doing that. A lot of people, I always hesitated to that. We don't have that in commercial real estate that much. And if they do, a lot of people have been there and they're already established. They've been in it a long time. But if you can find them, they're great to do. Obviously, your church, your synagogue, your sphere of influence, you want to be talking to those people and make sure you're emailing every one of them. Make sure you got a good email campaign that you're working on a day or a monthly basis. Every 17 to 19 days, make sure it's not just fluff that you're sending out. Make sure it's real information that you're sending out to everybody. So very important. We always forget to stay in touch, right? I mean, I can't tell you how often I've been sitting in a dinner and somebody said, yeah, we just leased a new office space. I'm like, hold on. Who did you use? Oh my God, I forgot you're in that business. It happens to all of us.
It does, and there's so much going on, and staying on top of everything is so important. But those past clients can really be one of the biggest assets when we think about lead gen. And if we're
Yeah.
doing, the regular staying and touching, and having those monthly market update check-ins, sending them anniversaries of when they bought and sold, things like that could really go a long way.
Yeah, and there's so many AI tools out there right now. Actually, they're plugins. It's a no-brainer anymore. You don't have to go in and actually write it down and go, oh yeah, call this person. It's going to pop up on your calendar. Call this person today.
Yep.
And it's just, there's really no excuse for it. So staying in front of old clients is probably the best way. Ask them for the business.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to, hey, do you know of anybody? You got to ask for the business. Otherwise, it's tough to do. And another thing that we've always had big success with. Now, we own the affiliate network now, so we don't do this as much. But when we were 5 to 10 agents in our office, we were always reaching out to agents outside of our market. And we would talk to them, say, hey, if you get anybody moving to Los Angeles, I want to give you a referral fee. We would get it in writing what the referral fee was, and then we would swap with them. If it was in Nevada, we would send to Nevada. Nevada would send to us. We had a pretty good system going there. And so, but with our affiliate network, we don't really utilize it anymore. But you want to do that. If you're a real estate agent and you're in Columbus and people from Toledo, how far is Toledo from Columbus? It's not very far.
About 3 hours, yeah.
Okay, that's far enough. They might be coming down, but get it in writing. Do an agreement with somebody there. Talk to a manager in office. Do an agreement with somebody there and say, listen, let's swap. If somebody is coming from Columbus to Toledo, I'm going to call you. If it's Toledo to Columbus, call me. And let's do that. Maybe even do some cross-marketing. But get an agreement in advance so you know what the fees are. Have that done in advance. Now, another thing in that realm, I want you to call all the commercial real estate agents or a few, not all of them, but in different markets, and connect with them. Say, listen, because we don't do a real commercial real estate brokerage firm will not do residential. We don't touch it. We have agents that around the country that are residential that we refer it out to. So make sure you connect with commercial real estate agents and do the same thing like you did with residential offices that were outside of the market. Put a deal up with them. That's always a good way to do it.
That's so true. I love that. Work with the people that are, already in this industry, but don't do this side of things. I think that that's so important, as well as, talking with other, industry leaders and that are in our space, but don't actively practice real estate. I mean, you should have, your lenders, your CPAs, your attorneys, your property managers and developers.
Yeah, you want to be careful with property managers. That's the only thing is, they have their real estate license now.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I want to talk about. You can always, if you want to create more revenue, and a good way to lock in a client is to do property management for somebody. Mm-hmm. However, I used to own a property management company. Just know it's a lot of extra work. So be prepared. But it is a good way to lock them in. Now, if it's a house, probably not going to be that much work, but it's good. Now, if you refer out to a property management company, remember they are licensed. Mm-hmm. So before you refer it to them, you need to make sure in your contract, well, I don't know if that's true in Ohio. In California, they're licensed. I bet they are in Ohio too. But so we always make sure that we refer somebody to a property management firm. There's a contract that says, if this home were to sell or this property were to sell, I get the listing, not the property management company. Because if you get a property management company, they say, well, we've got a license, we'll just sell it. Be careful with that one. So really do your due diligence. Again, I don't know if Ohio, you have to have a license to do property management, but it's very important. But yes, it's a great way to really stay in touch. And like you were saying, the vendors, a good divorce attorney, maintenance guys, they're all, hey, I want to get my house fixed up before I put it on the market. They're good. Divorce attorneys also know what's coming too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. If you Google it, AI search and some of the divorce attorneys, figure out which ones you can network with. That'd be smart. Yep.
Lenders, financial institutions, get to know them all. Get them people sending you business. Now, you want to make sure there's something for them when they do. You want to make sure there's value in it for them taking the time to do it. But if you've been experienced for a while, I'd say this one's for more experienced people, but if you want to really go out and do broker price opinions for people, now here's the thing I see a lot of real estate agents go, free broker price opinion. Well, unless you're not charging for it in the past, which some brokers do, be careful about how you advertise yourself. But offer to do a broker price opinion for somebody. You're going to get their email because now you've done all the work and you're going to want to email it to them. So now you captured their email, hopefully their phone number. You can stay in touch with them. But putting broker price opinions, that's a good way to really get out there and gain some business.
Yeah, I love it. No, all super smart, working that network, staying in touch with them, past, current, potential prospects, hopeful, keeping that conversation open, staying top of mind with them, being involved in those searches, paying attention to what you're posting online. All so important. I know another thing that we talk about too is building our personal brands and focusing on us and how we present ourselves. I think it all connects, which is really cool. And so much of our work does, so much of this feeds into each other. What's your advice on building brands? How should agents be thinking about it, be building it? What types of, qualifications, characteristics should be going into our brand? Talk to us about how we can build a really solid brand.
Depends. Almost everybody, and I just had this conversation the other day, everybody wants to be a luxury broker, right?
Right.
Everybody. I mean, I don't care if you're in my hometown, Wallback, Nebraska, and average sales price is $50,000.
That's the sexy term, right? Luxury,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which leaves a lot more to the market, but you've really got to think about who you're attracting, and that's where you should be really focused on. Who do you really want to attract, and how are you going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
And, it comes from everything from color to font. You've got to take all that into consideration. And, you can go on Claude AI right now, which I did this weekend because I'm getting ready to redo my website. And my marketing guy showed me this. He goes, just go in and ask it to give you ideas for reformatting your website. It came back. It's beautiful. The color scheme was better than what I have now. It's the same color scheme, just the way it's all done. So there's no reason to not be able to really go out and do it. But the brand comes back to who you want to be. It is you. Don't try and be somebody else. That's the thing is we see somebody else that's working but they're not you. You're the best version of you there's ever going to be. So just be you. And what do you bring to the table? And really focus your energy on that. It's really, I see so many people posting content that is funny. It's pretty pictures. Those are going to get you a lot of likes, but the client that you want to attract, what do they really want to see? And that's going to be data. It's going to be all that. And that you need to really have a big focus on. But the brand is, don't sway from it. Be consistent across all your platforms. If whatever your website looks like, go to your LinkedIn header, make sure it looks the same. Your wherever you have, I don't think Instagram has a header, does it? Twitter, whatever, wherever there's a header, make sure it all matches your website and be just consistent across the board. And that's something if I'm on LinkedIn, I want you to think that you're actually on my website because it looks just alike. I want it all to match.
Yeah. No, that's so smart. It drives me crazy when people have different profile pictures like on their website versus their LinkedIn versus their headshot on their email signatures. And I'm like, wait, who am I looking at? Like, what's the picture? Like, I'm trying to remember that face in my head and it's someone different at all their social media channels. And even something like as simple as that, keeping that consistent is really going to go a long way in training your agents and creating, that solid consistency that's going to make consumers know that's something you can trust.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is, you just need 3 pillars. What is it going to be about? It's going to be about you, your market, and your asset class, your market. If it's going to be homes or if it's going to be multifamily, whatever it's going to be. Those 3 pillars is plenty. And then just create content, put it in a system that'll post it out for you. It takes minutes a week. It doesn't need to take hours, but make sure it all looks the same.
Yeah.
It's just very important that you take the time to be across your all platforms. Another thing on profiles, this is another pet peeve since you got me on pet peeves.
Yeah.
It's people that don't fill out their profile completely.
Yeah.
I mean, why are you on there if you're not? we go through with our agents and we make sure everything is filled out, even where, so our CEO, even where it said to put your him, her, all that, what do you call those?
The pronouns. Yeah.
Pronouns.
Yeah.
He put STNL, net, net, net. So you could put houses or something, like whatever you wanted. I just thought, when I saw that, I thought that was pretty hilarious that he did that. But you want to make sure that you're easy to find.
Yep.
You know,
And that you've
especially,
looks like you put effort into it. You know what I mean? Like if I'm reading something that looks like they just did half of it and then gave up and had to move on to something else. I mean, anywhere that you are at online, you want to make sure that it's a comprehensive view of who you are and what you're trying to present. I think is really important.
absolutely. But here's the kicker, Allison, is, and this is not more for commercial than residential, I guess, but when somebody is talking to you about the marketplace, make sure you know everything about it. If you're multifamily in Columbus, then if I'm you, what I would do is I'd know everything about multifamily in Columbus. I'd know how many properties are on the market, average days on market, average size of the building, average sales price compared to listing price, average listing. You want to know all that because it's so hard to get a good lead that you don't want to waste it. Take time to get on your systems and study this market. So when somebody asks you a question, you're rattling it all off. Matter of fact, even when you get that generic, "Hey, how are you doing?" You don't want to answer like, "Fine, fine. How are you?" You want to say, "Oh, well, I do multifamily in Columbus. Right now, there's 26 properties on the market, average price." You break it all down and say, "So overall, pretty good, pretty good. How are you doing?"
Yeah.
You want to use that opportunity to really don't go on forever about it. Just have a few points that you can talk about and use that as that opening to really tell them that you know your market that well. And that's why they need to contact you.
I love that. And we're lucky in being in, the property industry, whether you're on residential or commercial side of things, that this is always a topic of interest for the economy, for news station, for coming up in conversations. I mean, it's almost on the same level, as gas prices right now, right? Like, oh my gosh, have you seen the gas? Oh my gosh, well, how's the housing market? This is always something that there's interest in. That you're right. You should be ready to rattle off those numbers, at the drop of a hat because things are changing so quickly. And it's always a topic of conversation. It's always something that there's going to be interest in from the general public. And you want to, like you said, make sure that you're taking advantage of that opportunity to be able to come on and share your knowledge and expertise, with whoever that conversation comes up with.
Man, I don't think, I mean, I love this industry and I've been in auctions. I've done residential, doing commercial now, property management. Didn't enjoy that too much, but we had a company did it, so run tech companies. But just being in the industry, I just don't think there's a better time to be in the industry right now because it's really evolving. I mean, and more so in the commercial, I'd say, because I think the average age of commercial real estate agents over the last few years has been 55. Can you imagine that? And so we're seeing that drop pretty quickly. And I think a lot of it's due because the way a newer agent can go into a marketplace, know how to use the tools that are afforded to them right now and take over. I think if you are young and new, and when I say young, I mean new in the industry, and there's just never been a better time. There's so many tools out there that you can go use and just skyrocket your income in a lot shorter time frame. I mean, like I said, George and I, when we started, it was cold calling. It was 200 phone calls a day. That's all we could do. And then we have to stop at 3:00 because we're in LA, and we have to stop at 3:00 because everybody back east was done. And that was where a lot of our focus was. We have to actually print and fold letters and actually go to the mailbox and mail them, stamp them and email them. And then over the years, we started using the internet, and what a difference, when you can market yourself. And most of the stuff is for free.
Yeah.
That's the kicker.
And with AI, I mean, I know we've mentioned it a few times, in this show, but the impact that's going to have, and you're getting in, and that's going to be such a huge asset to the business and the work that we're able to do and just efficiency. I mean, like you said, you're going to be able to set alerts and have AI generate you, a birthday email or, hey, here's when you got the keys to your new house. Happy 5-year anniversary of home ownership. I mean, it's going to be stuff like that. That's really exciting. And it's going to make us better agents and not something that we need to be fearful of. I think, we can have caution and proceed with caution, but I think, being excited about it and the opportunities are going to be really great for us.
But using the tools right, Allison?
Yeah.
Because I see so many blogs that I'm like, oh, that's AI.
Yes.
You can tell.
Yes. There's
It's
emails I get now and I'm like, oh, just take out the dashes. Like,
yeah. Fortunately, I was typing like that before, but terrible.
Joe's like, AI was built around me and my writing style anyway. So
yeah, okay. But no, make sure again, it goes back to being the authentic you.
Yeah.
Write the way you always have written. It's great to use AI for ideas, for coming up with scripts for YouTube videos. I use it for our YouTube videos. I come up with ideas. I'm like, God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But the way it's learning, I just am like, this is getting so much better, so much faster than I was anticipating. So it's a great tool if utilized properly. Just don't use it for just creating everything for you.
Yes.
It's
And
got to
proofread
come
your
from
stuff.
Yeah, you got to, when you're sending an email, make sure that subject line, and that's another thing we should probably touch on, is the subject line in an email. Go in there and put it in AI to give you like 5 of them. And then that first paragraph in that email, it's above the fold kind of. That's so important. It's not where you need to be talking about yourself. It's where you should be talking about the pain points this potential client is having and how you're going to overcome them. Not, I'm Joe Killinger, I'm the greatest real estate agent in Ohio. Don't do that. I'm deleting that, right? You got to really think about it. But the subject line, very, very important. Make it very key to what. Don't do checking in, anything like that. Make it very pointed to what the conversation is about. People will appreciate that so much more. They don't want to be bothered with random emails. But that above the fold, that is so important. You don't sell yourself, because honestly, nobody really cares. They just, how are you going to help me? That's what they want to see. And you want to utilize that top section.
No, I agree. That's a great bit of advice. Focus on the client. Make it about them, not about you. Your skills are going to shine through when you're putting them first. They're going to be able to see all that. Last bits of advice for our agents out there, for our industry. What would you say when we're in the world of lead gen? Anything we didn't touch on, or any last words of advice before we wrap up today?
I think there's one thing that I'm noticing in real estate is we're figuring out how to do lead gen. It's then, what do we do with those leads? I think we're missing a little bit of information there. I did a video a couple of weeks ago on the top 10 complaints of real estate agents. And mostly this is geared around commercial, but the number one complaint is they didn't return my call. I'm like, why would you spend all this time and effort and money into getting a lead and then not call it back?
Not answer your phone. Ugh.
Yeah, not answer your damn phone and then not call back.
Yeah.
So make sure it's either you have an automated system that will respond to them, or have somebody on your team respond to them and let them know you're going to be calling back at 2 p.m. or something. Make sure you understand how to get the leads once they've come in, and what you need to do, how you can qualify the people and convert those leads into real money for yourself. And we've put videos out on that on Joe Killinger YouTube. And so you can go see it there. We're really pivoting with the YouTube channel right now. It's all about helping real estate agents grow their business. So please do check it out, like and subscribe if you could. And always reach out with questions. I'm here for you. And if you need a good commercial real estate in Ohio, I've got a couple good people there for you.
I love it. No, this is great, Joe. I want to thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely check out those resources that you have. Hopefully we'll get these Cornhuskers good and we can have some good competitive football with each other.
It might be a year or two, but, I think they are starting to, I think there's some disappointment around our last quarterback. I think that kid probably had a tough go, but I wish him the best in Oregon. But let's hope they get it, because I used to love the Nebraska Ohio games when they're actually close.
Yes.
So hopefully
good for the conference. We're hoping you guys could be a little bit more competitive and have some more fun games. That'd be awesome.
I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
Well, Joe, I want to thank you again so much for coming on, for joining with me today, for sharing a little bit more about you and your world. I feel like I need to have you on and we'll do like a commercial focused episode. I think that would be fun, and we'll dive more into the commercial world. I know, we focus so much on residential on this show, but I think having a commercial focused show would be fun too. But I want to thank you so much for coming on, for joining me today, and for all this great knowledge you shared with us.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
And to all of our listeners, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back with you next week. Talk to you then.
Thank you for listening to The Real View. That wraps up today's episode. You can keep up with the latest on the podcast at ohiorealtors.org/therealview and on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Have questions, comments, or suggestions? We want to hear from you. Email us at podcast@ohiorealtors.org. We'll see you next time.